Welcome back to the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television. So Sunday, November the 16th was celebrated as World Day of Remembrance for Road Crash Victims. A very important day within the context of Nigeria's own experience. Just this year, the Federal Road Safety Corps told us in its yearly accounting of road crash numbers that 5,421 people died in the year 2024 from road crashes, a 7% increase from the previous year. So how is Nigeria marking the World Day of Remembrance against road crash victims? Joining us now from our Abuja studio is former Minister of Aviation and former Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Osita Chidoka. He joins us right there from our Abuja studio. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
Now, before we get into the matter, your primary objective of being on the show, I can't resist the urge to ask you, if you feel more convinced about your decision to throw your own PDP membership card out the window, now figuratively, in 2024, when you see happenings with the PDP in the last couple of months.
I would like to pass on that question. I don't want to comment on the PDP.
All right, we'll take that answer. Yesterday, there was the conference for the remembrance of road crash victims in Abuja, I believe. Tell us why that conference is important.
Yes, yesterday we started with the walk, the candlelight procession. There is an international road crash victims African conference starting in Abuja. Started yesterday, or rather day before, with some social events. But today, the conference proceedings are really starting today. What is significant about this conference is that the World Day of Remembrance for road traffic crashes in the world that we celebrated yesterday, or we commemorated yesterday, was founded by a woman, Bridget Chaudhry, who lost a son in 1996. The son was hit by a vehicle that was trying to beat the red light. And she started Road Peace, and that led to a day of remembrance. She proposed the day of remembrance. And then she started the Remembrance Day every third Sunday in November. And in 2005, the World Health Organization, which had been designated the focal organization for road traffic crashes by the United Nations, presented to the UN, and it was adopted that third Sunday of November every year will be the remembrance of road crash victims. So this is the power of an individual, the power of a person to change the course of history. And it is interesting in Nigeria that another woman is here again moving the dial, and that woman is Justice Monica Domba-Mensing, who lost her son in 2011. Then I was still Corps Marshal. And she came to me with tears in her eyes, with pain in her heart. And after our conversation, she joined the Special Marshals. She founded KRSD, named after her late son. And then since then, she has pushed that other mothers do not suffer what she had suffered. She has pushed to make our roads safe in Nigeria. So the KRSD is the engine bringing Africa together to Nigeria to discuss about road safety. And why is that important? It is important because in 2024, we had a total of 9,000 crashes as reported by the FRSC. We had 5,000 deaths for the whole of 2024. But January to September 2025, we've had 7,000 plus crashes, which is about 10% higher than last year. We've had 3,912 deaths, which is about 11% higher than this time last year. And when you look at these numbers, we have 24,000 people injured in 2025, January to September. And that again is about 10% higher than last year. So road crashes are trending up, deaths are rising, and yet we need to do something about it. If you look at 3,000 plus deaths, that means about almost 15 aircraft crashing with 200 passengers. That is what will happen for you to get that kind of death. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. We've managed to make air travels very safe. but we haven't done that for the roads. So that is why, and very significantly so, that this conference is coming at a very appropriate time, at a very germane time, to discuss the deaths happening. And for me, it's even more crucial because we know where these deaths are occurring. About 5 states top the chart of where these deaths are happening. So we have Ogun, we have Oyo, we have Abuja, we have Kaduna, we have Jigawa. Interestingly, these are deaths. These are places where these deaths are happening. Our worst corridors are Lagos, Ibadan, Abuja, Lokoja. We also have Abuja, Kaduna. These are terrible roads that if we do something today, we can actually reduce the number of deaths. 70% of these crashes are happening by commercial vehicles. Commercial vehicles are the worst culprits on the road. So while cars have more incidents of crashes, the severity by commercial vehicles are really very disturbing. So we need to do something, and that's why this conference is coming at a very opposite time, a very, very germane time. And that's why I singularly praise Justice Dumba Mensing for taking her grief and turning it into a national movement. And that's what we should do in Nigeria. We should not wait for it to happen to the next person. We should be able to come together and find solutions to our serious and deep national challenges.
Yeah, Honorable, great point you've raised. I know you want to plead the fifth when it comes to the polity, but I won't let it slide. But we'll stay with your conversation. Let's stay with it for a bit, and that has to do with causes, because we're trying to solve a problem. And I will listen to the state you were mentioning, and I was waiting for a particular state, which is Ogun, and I'm happy you mentioned it. What are the major drivers, and what does this campaign intend to address? Is it the infrastructure or the attitude of the people? What exactly is going to turn the tide and scale down the numbers as drastically as possible from your experience as a Corps Marshal and what you've seen today?
So my solutions are quite simple, and it's amazing that some of these solutions can be that simple. So in 2009, 10, 11, we had a World Bank project. The OECD countries, the G8 countries, have agreed that 10% of the cost of road construction should be dedicated to making the roads safe. So in 2009, I was in London to talk to the European Bank of Reconstruction and also to the World Bank. And we agreed that 10% of this money should be dedicated to road safety. So in Nigeria, in 2010 area, we finally got a $10 million grant from the World Bank to look at 5 corridors. So we had corridors that drove from Abakaliki to Mfun. We have Bida, Mokwa, Jeba. We had 5 corridors like that. And this money was spent in buying patrol vehicles, speed devices. We also spent the money in training of the staff. We bought breathalyzers, we brought motorcycles to reduce speed on those roads. And after 1 year, I think it was 2013 that the full operation went on scale, we saw a reduction in crashes in these corridors. And I had always preached that this should be scaled at a national level. The country should not rely on donor funding. So if you look at the budget of the Ministry of Works, they have about almost 2.4 trillion for road construction. And I'm saying, let's not even go to the 10%. Let's go to between 1.5 to 3% of that funding. That will give us about 30-something to 60 billion naira. To look at all the corridors where people are dying today, the Ministry of Works will procure the safety devices for these roads while FRSC does the enforcement, so that we can then put together funding that will help us to reduce speed, look at the road designs, and make sure that all the devices on the road are in place, and particularly that the enforcement on the road is optimal. So if you look at the FRSC budget, it has about 3.9 billion for 2025. That 3.9 billion, about 70% of it are for purchase of houses, building of new commands. Nothing in the budget is addressing these 5 corridors where the crashes are happening. None of them is affecting these 5 states while the FRSC has reported that overspeeding accounts for 65% of the crashes in Nigeria, 65%. So if you take that number and take these 5 corridors and get the president, and this is my passionate appeal to the president, and I'm sure he will hear of this conference and what is going on in this conference. I'm saying to Mr. President, we don't need any new legislation. We don't need any new work. All we need is for the Ministry of Works to, from the budget that is already assigned to the roads, whatever it is possible this year, so that from next year they can actually make more explicit budgeting to say, at least let's take up these 5 to 7 or 10 corridors that are the high points and make them optimal and make them future-proof them so that they'll be safe. So this is a simple solution, because when Nigerians had plane crashes in 2005 and 6, we met and brought 19.5 billion, which in 2006 was worth $150 million in 2006. So if we come together today and put, even if we put 30 billion in road safety, it's still worth less than $20 million. And that will help us to keep these roads safe. No country loses 5,000 people from a particular incident and do nothing. But let me tell you the price of doing nothing. If we do nothing and these things keep growing at the current 10% between 24 and 25, and FRSC remains without patrol vehicles and fueling to go about at least reducing speed on our highways, by 2030, we will have lost about 65,000 Nigerians from road crashes. It could be me, it could be you, it could be anybody. And that is not good enough. That is not good enough. The Vision Zero is possible. And I tell people I'm passionate about road safety. Road safety is not the same as FRSC. FRSC is the Federal Road Safety Corps. But road safety is an issue that all Nigerians should be interested in. And if we're interested in it, there are avenues. We know what works. The G8 rule works. We've tried it in 5 corridors during my time, and it worked. We know where the people are dying. We know the 5 corridors where the top percentage are dying. We know the 5 states that are the top states where people are dying. We know the major cause, overspeeding. So what are we waiting for? We can fix this problem.
All right.
And I believe that the president will listen to this and fix this problem.
All right. Beyond behavioral change and all of those other interventions that you've talked about, perhaps we should also look at consequence management. And I don't know if the conference is making recommendations in that regard, because beyond overspeeding, there's also the challenge of fallen tankers and, tankers laden with petrol spilling their content. This year alone, they have killed hundreds. So what we have also seen over the years is FRSC expressing resolve to prosecute drivers and companies, but we have never seen anything in that regard. You've been former Corps Marshal of the FRSC. Please talk to us about why there has been very low numbers of prosecutions in that space.
Well, I don't even know if prosecution is the simple solution, but let me go there. The FRSC is an organization. I have a policy of not criticizing publicly or discussing publicly, and for 2 reasons. All these Corps Marshals that have come after me worked with me, and I have direct access to them, and I engage them regularly. So I will always engage them. But let me tell you, the issue of petrol tankers is a very important issue. And now there's a refinery in Nigeria, and we are buying trucks to distribute fuels directly. We need to go back to that issue. During my time, we had a conversation with Total, and they took 40 FRSC staff to APTH in France. They were in France for 1 month, and they were trained on safe management of tanker drivers. So we now brought them to all the tank farms. They were FRSC staff to make sure that the trucks themselves are safe, that the trucks themselves are fit for road. So vehicle testing, which is important, that we need to invest in vehicle testing. We need to invest in weigh bridges, which is part of what I'm talking about, this 10%. We need to, so that the tankers, as they are joining these major highways, we need to weigh them and be sure that they have the correct axle load. Then we need to have vehicle testing that annually, all commercial vehicles, especially the trucks, must go through testing to be sure that they are okay for the roads, for using the road. So the FRSC is not just going to go about prosecution, but they need to go to the source of loading fuel and make sure that safe loading, safe operation. The tankers have their seals covered so that even when crashes do occur, they will not be dangerous on the road. And more importantly, they need to look at the drivers. I believe that all commercial drivers in Nigeria must use the commercial driver's license, and that will warrant that they will do drug testing, they will do regular alcohol testing, and they will have vehicle inspection areas where they need to be trained. So the state governments are in charge of vehicle inspection and driver testing, but I'm thinking that the FRSC should build national driver testing centers for commercial vehicles. They may operate with the private sector, they may do it together with the states, but we need to be testing our commercial drivers. We don't have giving somebody 45,000 liters of fuel without knowing that person is like handing over a bomb to a mad person. And I think a lot needs to be done about that beyond the prosecution. Of course, when the crash do occur, FRSC should prosecute. They use the mobile courts, and I know that they have been quite active in the prosecution circuit. It's just that people don't hear what happens eventually with the prosecution.
I'm happy with your characterization, and I feel that what you're proposing should be like the incoming tax laws that is generating fever across board, because consequence of bad behavior it's not as effective as it should be. It goes to other clients, sometimes even expressway have a limit. But we're totally out of time. Just one question for you. Are you going to foray into politics yet again anytime soon? Because it looks like you just told yourself, I think I'm done and dusted on this one. Is that a position, or I'm just exaggerating your position?
No, I'm not done and dusted. You will hear from me sooner than later.
Because I see how you want to confine us to the conversation that brought you here, but because of time, I'll let you off on this one. Maybe when we have some other time, you will answer those political questions.
Well, definitely, I'm not quite done yet.
Because we can't have somebody of your stature and not ask you political questions.
I'm not quite done yet in that space. Since you say we're going to hear from you very soon, so under which political party would it be?
That's what you will hear when you hear from me.
All right, we must anchor at this point, and thank you very much. We've been talking with the Minister of Aviation.
Yes, I had to keep to the topic because this is a very important issue, and I want Nigerians to please pay attention to safety of our roads. 3,000 people dying on our roads in 9 months, 3,900. Close to 4,000 is totally unacceptable. No country should accept that. And I passionately appeal to the President to please bring the Minister of Works, the Minister of Transport, and the FRSC to the table and read the Riot Act and tell us to go and find solutions to making our roads safer.
A fine place to anchor there. Former Minister of Aviation and former Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Chidoka. Thank you for your time on the Morning Brief.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a moment. When we return, it'll be time to talk football. Mourn a little more and then look forward to the future. Stay with us, we'll be right back.